It began on a cold November night when the moon hid behind thick clouds and the wind whispered secrets through the narrow, empty streets. 10 seconds in that S, all it took for the life of 32-year-old art dealer Emily Carter to flicker and die. The only hint left behind. An ivory chess pawn, placed precisely at the foot of her bedroom window, facing the city skyline as if daring someone to notice. That chilling detail, so small, so innocuous, would unravel everything. Emily Carter was known as a quiet but ambitious woman with a sharp eye for beauty and a gentle smile that masked deeper ambitions. She lived in a modest downtown loft in the heart of the city, walls lined with canvases she planned to resell, and shelves heavy with books on art history. She was preparing for the grand opening of her very own gallery. A lifelong dream. But as November turned darker and the chill set in, her hopes were about to be extinguished. On the night of November 14th, 2023, the city's hum quieted around midnight. Emily's neighbors said her lights were on until well past 1, but around to a faint rapping on the loft door went unanswered. There were no screams, no sounds of struggle. The next morning, a cleaning crew entered for scheduled maintenance and discovered her lifeless body sprawled on the floor, limbs unnaturally arranged. No forced entry, no sign of robbery, nothing taken. Only that strange chess pawn, pale and gleaming, placed as though it were a final word. The crime scene was surreal, almost artistic in its malicious precision. Blood was minimal. She appeared to have been subdued, drugged, or strangled in a way that left little trace. Forensic teams found no signs of a break-in. The lock had been used with a key. Investigators surmised the killer either had access or was let in. Among the few items disturbed were 2 chess-related objects: a leather-bound chess notebook on Emily's desk filled with scrawled notes and a half-finished painting of a chessboard on the wall. The pawn, the notebook, the painting, all seemed linked in grotesque synchrony. As detectives combed through Emily's phone records, emails, and bank statements, a pattern emerged. There had been regular messages from someone identified only as MK. Always polite, often discussing art acquisitions, gallery advice, sometimes chess. On November 13th, the night before the murder, MK had sent a single text. The final move must be unseen. The pawn belongs on the board. Hours later, Emily responded, "I understand. See you soon." Then, silence. Midnight. Pawn. Death. Suspicion swirled around those closest to Emily. Her ex-business partner, Lucas Brandt, a charismatic but volatile man, had recently argued with her over financial disagreements tied to the gallery. His alibi was shaky. He claimed to have been at a late-night bar, but no one remembered seeing him. Then there was Emily's assistant, Clarissa, devoted yet distant, who had altered the gallery's founding documents without permission. Her handwriting matched entries in the chess notebook. And finally, a reclusive collector, known only by his alias MK. He paid in cash, never revealed his face, claimed to be obsessed with chess-domed art. The first weeks of the investigation produced frustrating dead ends. Security cameras along the building corridor had been switched off between 1:30 and 2:10 a.m. The building superintendent insisted the outage was due to a routine maintenance glitch, but no maintenance crew had been scheduled. The lock on Emily's door showed no signs of tampering. The key seemed genuine and possibly duplicated. The pawn was dust clean, untouched by fingerprints. A cold and deliberate signature. Then came the break. A neighbor 2 floors above recalled seeing a black sedan parked outside the building around 1:50 a.m. Unusual, because the street had strict overnight parking bans. The car's engine idled briefly, then died. The silhouette of a lone figure lingered in the dim streetlight, just long enough to cast a shadow through the ground floor windows. The witness swore the figure's stance was oddly rigid, calculating, chess-like. Forensics recovered soil from the bottom of the pawn, a rare variety of earth unique to a suburban community cemetery located 3 miles away. Surveillance footage from nearby streets showed a car matching the black sedan's description, leaving that cemetery around midnight, then driving toward the city. License plates were obscured, but investigators traced a recent sale of such a vehicle. A used black sedan, registered to a shell company under the name matching the alias MK. The vein traced back to a man by the name of Marcus King, a drifter with no prior offenses but a fascination with chess and a history of stalking women involved in the arts. As detectives prepared to obtain a search warrant for King Z, address a sparsely furnished townhouse on the outskirts. The pressure mounted. News of Emilia's death had ignited public terror. Could someone really slip inside a secure residential building, murder a woman in her sleep without a sound, and leave behind a chess piece like a taunt? Would they strike again? At the crime lab, experts using advanced forensic light sources found a faint trace of skin cells on the pawn. Likely from someone gloved, but whose gloves still shed fragments. DNA analysis tentatively matched to King, though contamination concerns delayed certainty. Meanwhile, inside King's townhouse, detectives found an abandoned chessboard smeared in dried blood. Not Emily's, but from a previous victim identified months earlier, but never linked to a crime. That victim, an artist named Maria Delgado, had disappeared without a trace, missing since June of the same year. Her apartment showed signs of disturbance. Police now realized Emily's murder might be the climax of a far darker series. The notebook found on Emily's desk turned out to be a twisted manifesto. Passages described life as a chess game, each person a pawn, bishop, knight, or king. Beauty is a board. One line read, "Your gallery will become my final show." Sketches in the margins matched the positions of victims on their apartment blueprints. Emily's loft was drawn in, the pawn placed beneath a window. The exact position it was found. Below the sketch, in faint red ink, the words, "White makes the final move at 2 o'clock. Checkmate." As pressure grew, Keen Bunny said his townhouse was empty, bed stripped, walls scrubbed. His BMW vanished from the public registry. Detectives found a flight reservation. Same night, 3:15 a.m., a one-way ticket abroad. But by the time authorities mobilized, the reservation had been canceled. Then, a dramatic twist. A private investigator hired by Emily's parents discovered that Lucas Brandt, the ex-partner, had wired a substantial sum of money days before Emily's death to an offshore account associated with King S. Shell Company. Brandt claimed it was repayment of an old loan, but the timing was suspicious. Just 48 hours before the murder. Meanwhile, Clarissa, the assistant, had been documented deleting emails from Emily's account, including one dated November 3rd, titled "Final Move." She claimed it was to protect privacy, but her actions looked more like cover-up. Now the case stood on two plausible leads. King, the drifter turned predator, obsessed with chess and artistry, and Brandt, the disgruntled ex-partner with motive and means. Clarissa remained in the shadows, potentially facilitating either man, but no charges yet. No arrests. The pawn, the chalky soil, the notebook, the empty townhouse, the deleted emails, all pieces of a complex puzzle designed to bury truth under layers of misdirection. Meanwhile, the public cried out for justice. Candlelight vigils at Emily's old loft turned into protests demanding urgent police action. Online, art communities mourned and whispered of cursed galleries and stalkers hidden behind passion for beauty. The city's elite feared exposure. Would their private confidences be probed next? Months passed. Forensic labs processed evidence. Analysts tried to match skin fragments from the pawn, reconstruct deleted data, trace phone signals. The only conclusive result: the soil from the pawn was unique and only found at the cemetery near King Spormer home. The blood on the chessboard in his townhouse belonged to a woman identified as Maria Delgado, confirming a second victim. But beyond that, nothing. No fingerprints, no surveillance capturing his face, no digital footprints after that final moment of booking. Then, one evening, investigators reopened the painting Emily had left unfinished. The chessboard wall, art. Under ultraviolet light, they discovered a hidden message scored onto the canvas before painting "Checkmate." Nothing hides forever. It had been painted over. Only under UV did the original words emerge. That same painting hung in her gallery at the time she was killed. It was considered her crowning piece. The message felt like a confession, a taunt left for her, or for the world. But despite the smoke, there was no fire. Prosecutors argued they still lacked proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Without detaining either King or Brandt, the case stalled, turning cold. Investigators feared King had fled the country. Clarissa, meanwhile, moved away, changed her name, and kept a low profile. The notebook, the pawn, the painting, all archived in cold storage, unseen by the public. So, this remains, for now, a crime frozen in time. A masterfully staged murder. A cryptic calling card. A pawn in a deadly chess game. The gallery stands empty. The city remembers Emily Carter's name, and yet no one has answered for it. Now the question echoes through empty frames and silent canvases. Who truly stood behind the final move? Was it the drifter with obsession in his eyes, the partner with ambition in his heart, or the assistant with secrets in her fingertips? Maybe it was all three, each unseen, playing roles in a grim performance that ended with a pawn placed in plain sight. You, dear viewer, now hold the final clue. Think back. The pawn under the window, the cancelled flight, the offshore payment, the deleted email titled "Final Move," the erased words on the painting. Which one matters most? Which one reveals the killer? I leave that question to you. If you enjoyed this story and want more chilling tales of unsolved crimes and hidden truths, subscribe to Midnight Crime Vault, hit the bell icon, and join us for the next dark revelation.